Yeah, we don't. He could have a little bit of sidewall damage there to the car that could be affecting his aerodynamics just a little bit, but here comes Doug thinking about a move to the outside, going down into the chicane. He's going to have to be very brave to do it and pulls it off. Oh, you can't get a whole lot closer than that. My goodness gracious.
Let's take a look at this from the hood, because this is where Partridge needs to change his pants, and Kinchler probably does too after he saw what happened in his mirrors. But Partridge comes in too hot, clips that inside curve, gets unsettled, then he's on the brakes. We're going to go in slow-mo here to see how close it was, and it was very close.
Yeah, the top three have been an incredible fight. Oh man.
Gently does it, boys, as they make their way down. They bang wheels. Oh, Sebastian Tixier, he goes tumbling over. Trengarade going off the circuit. Goodness gracious, looked like Jim Shedlick went off the track in sympathy there.
This is the view that he has going through. He sees a couple lights in the distance, trying to get it rejoined.
Oh, that's not good. Careful, boys, careful. Too wide coming up, Eau Rouge. And the loser there is going to be Vaughn as Karthik Pai keeps his foot in it. Vaughn going to lose another position there to Mika Lino. And Lino going to go for a 2-for-1 as they come down the Kemmel Straight. He has got such massive overspeed. Look at that move from the number 5 machine.
Leighton returned to the top step of the podium at Sonoma, but Travis Brown's commendable performance has launched him back into second in the points for the first time in many rounds. He'll have to work hard to keep a grasp on it, because no doubt Michael Johnson will be eager to redeem himself for 2 poor races. Spa will make it tough to get away from your rivals, so it's anybody's game today as we get ready to watch round 14 of the Porsche Owners Club Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Spa will test even the most skilled in these cars. Let's head to our track guide to see what makes it such a legendary challenge even today. Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. Less than an hour's drive east from the German border, this Belgian track has come to define racing for many different eras in the sport. It's no wonder it continues to entrance drivers when you look at the stats. The 7 kilometers over the course of a lap includes more than 330 feet in elevation change as it weaves its way through the Ardennes forest. Packed into this is 19 turns, some of which are considered among the most famous in the world of racing. Corners like La Source and Blanchemont have been on the lips of drivers for decades. But by far the most notorious is Eau Rouge and Rétillon. Typically referred to in name by just the first section, it dips low and swings left, then compresses and climbs to the right up a massive hill. The sequence ends with a completely blind crest that sweeps to the left and leads onto the incredibly long Kemmel Straight. The bravery required to be fast through there will pay off towards one of the most popular passing spots at Lacombe. Eau Rouge is exemplary of the rest of the circuit though. Most of the turns are incredibly fast and many include much of that signature elevation change. As jaw-dropping as the track is, you have to remember that this is the modern truncated layout. The old one, raced until 1979, was 14 kilometers in length, yet carried an average speed of 150 miles per hour. Present-day safety measures do cut down on the danger, but even in recent history, the circuit has proven deadly. It's clear why this track continues to be revered and respected by racers the world round. Well, DJ, it's the old faithful of racing. Spa-Francorchamps sees so much use here in the sim, and it's no wonder with how tough it is to try and master.
Well, Joe, it is simultaneously so tough to master, and as you said at the beginning, so easy to be able to keep up behind another driver, courtesy of the long draft you get going from Radillon down into Lacombe down the Kemmel Straight, and then on the run from Stavelot down to Bus Stop. And those are going to be the two main overtaking areas that we're going to see in these GT3 Porsches out there today. Now, thankfully, these GT3s are going to generate enough downforce that on the run down from No Name through Pouhon and down through Fagnes, it's going to be relatively easy, or as easy as it can be here at Spa. You're not going to have to worry about too much, but watch for some coming together, maybe coming into La Source. That's always a bit of consternation there, even though it's a very, very wide hairpin. And then also coming into Lacombe, it narrows up massively there at the top of the hill, and drivers are going to have to be very, very careful. And despite that added downforce, Pouhon, it's always a tricky corner. That multiple apex left-hander trying to find the right feathering of the throttle through there. It's always going to create some fascinating driving, and it's really going to separate the best from the very best.
Indeed. And, well, before we see who is the best out there, let's go through our sponsors, which, of course, includes Porsche. There is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. And Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank. Be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to octaviotequila.com and purchase today. And finally, Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. Now, as for the championship, it's been a little bit one-sided, unfortunately. Leighton, with another victory, is going to put himself farther out of reach of all of his rivals. That said, Travis Brown is getting a little bit more consistent now and has finally overtaken Michael Johnson, who was the king of consistency before. He kind of had a couple trip-ups lately. Corey Lotvola still kind of hovering around there, but can't seem to find consistent speed himself. From there on down, you get to drivers that look a little more unlikely, although today, Bolton does seem pretty fast. We'll see if that helps him maybe get more into the hunt for maybe the top 3 in the points, but I'm not sure that he'll be able to try and fight for an overall championship. Guys like BJ Fulton, Doug Baccignone, Mayorga, and Abrams are all relatively close back there in the battle for the best of the rest. As for today's race details, DJ, what are they facing off against?
Well, we are back to our sprint round here for round 14. Everybody going to be driving that same Porsche 911 GT3R in a 30-minute race right now. And open setups are available out there, but this is a very, very open community. And so you're going to see a lot of those setups shared between drivers. And we don't really spend a whole lot of time talking about that. But as we said, 30-minute race, and drivers out on track right now currently for a 30-minute qualifying session.
And that qualifying session is finding itself difficult to decide who will start in third, because right now Duncan, Johnson, and Ost are separated by less than 0.03 of a second. And to make that, do we have another one in the mix? Because Corey Lotvola just jumped up. He's not quite that close, but just about. He only went about half a tenth quicker than Jad Duncan into that third spot. So while Leighton and Bolton seem to have the measure of the field, everybody else is really scrabbling to see who can get onto the inside of row 2.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very close battle in the mid-pack here. And as we mentioned a little bit earlier, Joe, that draft is going to keep these drivers very, very close to one another. The real difference that you see around Spa, where you're able to make up time, is through the second sector around this lap. In the first and third sector, it's major, major draft trains. So if these guys are able to keep up this kind of time, I think we're in for one heck of a battle here tonight.
I think Duncan might actually improve this time by. We'll see if this lap counts for him. It's easy to get those off tracks, which will be a talking point, and it does count. A 2:16.3 is going to put him on the front row. So Michael Bolton has now been shoved down, and it's still looking mighty tight between Jad and Michael. So those two will have to try and decide this in the last 7 minutes now. This is incredible for such a long lap to see the number of drivers that are within a tenth of a second or even closer.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely insane there, just how close everybody's running. And Joe, looking down through the rest of the field there, I mean, we're talking about a gap no bigger than 0.2 of a second from drivers from second place all the way down to 15th place. There is not a single gap that is larger than 2.5 of a second there all the way through. This is a very, very tight field. And let's remind ourselves that this is Spa, a 4.35-mile circuit. This is a long, long track. And for the gaps to be that tiny is truly remarkable.
Fantastic stuff. We've got about 23 drivers signed up here today. We'll see if they all take to the grid as we're watching Johnson. Looks like maybe he's trying to pull a little bit of a slipstream here off of Momeyer, who gets out of his way, and off to the start-finish line here. Let's see what his time is. This time, 2:17 flat is unfortunately not going to be quick enough. He pulls over to the side. Wonder if he's going to try to get some fresh rubber on that. Some of these drivers, a little bit fresh faces or fresher faces. Sagar Dawan is actually sitting in 10th place. This is his first ever race out here. And then a driver that we only saw once before, Sevek Nazarian, is currently sitting in 19th, struggling a little bit more. He was here for Daytona 2 rounds ago. We'll see how he does at another track that has a lot of long straights here as we watch Dewan come up and over Radion here. Just started a new lap, and let's see if he can manage to break a little bit higher than this 10th spot.
And let's see if he's able to do anything. Kicks up a little bit of dirt there going down the Kemmel Straight, and crucially there behind him, look at that, that's Michael Johnson. He's going to get a little bit of hint of the draft, and that's one of the things here in this open qualifying format that is going to be absolutely massive, is that you really don't want to be going out and setting laps on your own, as there we've got another driver keeping things incredibly tight, Nick Facciolo up to P3.
Wow. Okay, so for reference, we have 7 drivers within 1.4 seconds. And if you take that to second place, that is 6 drivers between 0.4 of a second there at the top of the field. Really, we've got a big gap from Leighton to Duncan, from P1 to P2, but everybody behind him is really keeping it close, and that's certainly not going to be a fast lap, and it looks like that scared Michael Johnson off the circuit. He was on an out lap, so he's just going to have to reset and get back out there. There's Tom on your screen, your pole sitter right now. Most wins of the season by far, and comfortably leading the way. He is currently up to, let's see, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins now after this last one at Sonoma.
Just remarkable consistency there from Tom. And let's remember at Sonoma that he was able to lap pretty much the entire field, just putting in the constant times there. And, you know, 1 second here at Spa, it's not as massive as it sounds necessarily because this is such a longer circuit. If we compare that to a normal 2.5 to 3 mile circuit, let's count that at about 7.5 of a second. So still a pretty big margin, but not necessarily as massive as it looks. Tom here going to pull off to the side, though, and I think this is probably going to conclude his qualifying. He's going to take a little bit of a break here in the dying stages of this session.
Yeah, it's over 2 minutes just to get around. He could come back out and get there in time. I do see him exiting pit lane now. So we'll see if he carries on and they are able to finish their hot laps. In the meantime, we're going to check and see what Baccignone can do, if he can improve on that 2:17.8, and the answer is no, as he had that lap deleted. These drivers, of course, have to stay within the track limits, much like we've seen in modern F1 this season. It is very strictly scrutinized here in iRacing. And if you go outside the track boundaries, it immediately will delete the lap. Not only that, in the race itself, they get a drive-through penalty at 17 incidents, DJ, so they got to be careful.
Yeah, they do have to be careful, and thankfully here, the scrutineering at Spa, not nearly as tough as it used to be. This used to be one of the worst tracks to pick up some of those off tracks, and in recent years that it has loosened just very slightly, but it is still very, very easy to pick up those off tracks, whether it's running wide at Pouhon and Blanchimont, cutting the corner a little bit over the top of Radillon. Plenty of places to get it.
Now, I see two drivers that have not set a time, Alex Filsinger and Jacob Abrams. But Filsinger looks like he might not be in the session right now. I'm not sure if he's going to take to the grid, but Abrams does appear to be in here. And we'll see if the 728 just elects to start from the back of the field here today. As coming up into Lacombe, there is Jacob. Yeah, it looks like he should be lining up if he's out here attempting to qualify. Unfortunately for him, it seems like this is not for a lack of trying. He's had 7 laps deleted, and that's every single one of them. That's why he doesn't have a time yet.
Well, as we've said, it's very, very difficult to be able to try to get those and get it within the boundaries there. And a little bit wide there on the exit of May. He just barely kept that within the bounds there. So he should be good on that.
All right, so Abrams coming around, trying to see if he at least will get this one in. If not, if he can get to the line before the time runs out to try and start another one. Tom Layton is just getting ready to start his final flyer, followed by Baccignone, but Baccignone is also on an out lap. Let's see, is anybody on a flyer? Duncan looks a little slow as he comes to the line. Dewan is on an out lap. A lot of people just getting ready to start one. Looks like Mark Bray potentially in the 946 is on a good one here. He's sitting in 17th. He's about half a second off of the next car up as we continue to watch Abrams through Blanchimont down to complete the lap, and he is going to be able to start a new one. He is close enough, definitely, to be able to get across the line in time. I'm watching Bray in the meantime. Oh, and he had his lap deleted as well. So what about Jacob Abrams? Has he been a good boy this time around and kept within the white lines? He crosses it. Yes, it's a 2:17.6.
And that's going to be able to get him up into 12th place position. So a good run there for Jacob, and he will get one more bite at the apple. And I believe he is going to be the last driver to maybe be able to cross over the line. We may see one more time here from Michael Johnson, but that's still be determined.
There he's coming across it now, and he did get across. Oh, he was mighty close to his best lap, but was just shy. So he needs this last one, and he needs it to be good because he could get multiple positions as Shulam puts in a 2:17.7. I'm not sure that he actually gained positions from that. Chang is up next. He has his lap deleted, so that's it for him. Bolton is going to be our next driver through in the 1:27, but he looks like he is on a slow lap himself. Oh, and that is off for Abrams, so it's a good thing he got that lap in because that's it for him.
Yeah, very good thing there for him. I do see in the back there, John Momeyer looks like he had a little bit of an off coming down through Blanchimont, and so that's going to throw him off. Bolton not going to be able to improve there. Looks like a couple other drivers. Whoa, that's going to be in around there from the 501 of Sagar Dewan.
So he's done, and actually he's the last one. Fulton, unfortunately, not on a flyer. So that is everybody done and dusted for quali. Should be a fun one here for round 14 of the season. And before we head off to that grid, real quick, let's take a look at the weather here because it's looking pretty decent for them. 82 Fahrenheit and not a whole lot of wind. I'm guessing wind is the last thing you want with so many fast corners around here.
Yeah, indeed. You do not want any of that crosswind that can come and really buffet the car around, move you around a little bit. That's the last thing you want to have happen. Any change in the aerodynamics of this course can really, really throw you for a loop, Joe.
Now, has Johnson finished? Oh, you know what? I may have called it a little soon here because Johnson did get across the line. So, yeah, no checkered flag next to him, but I'm seeing him 0.3 slow right now in that number 9 machine. Let's see if he can make it up in the last corner or not as he flies around Blanchimont. Looks for his brake marker down into the bus stop chicane. Slams on the binders. Can he make the apex? No, he's a little bit off. Tries to open up the second half of it. What's it going to be? It still looks like he's slow. I'm not hopeful he'll cross the line, and it's a 2:17.3. It's not meant to be for that purple number 9 machine. Let's go through our starting order, and Tom Layton takes another pole position as Chad Duncan will start to his outside, but is a full second off of his time. Nick Facciolo will start from 3rd as Michael Bolton will be P4. Corey Lotfula starts from 5th as Michael Johnson will be P6. Then it's Michael Ost in 7th and Mehmet Karasay P8. Mark Rondeau in 9th, and Sam Mayorga managed to slip into 10th.
In 11th, it's going to be Sigurd Dewan, followed by Jacob Abrams with Jeffrey Shulam and Doug Boccignoni behind them. BJ Fulton lines up 15th, followed by Michael Chang with Russell Elizondo in 17th and Mark Bray in 18th. Loyal Evans is 19th, and Civic Nazarian will be in the top 20.
21st goes to John Momeyer, and Dan Fendick will be 22nd. Phil Singer did not set a time, but he is, in fact, gritting up. I guess he must have just, instead of actually leaving the session, I guess he just considered himself finished with qualifying early and clicked the button. And it does sound like Phil Singer's been a bit of a busy boy this weekend, DJ.
Yes, he has. He was out at the SRO event at Watkins Glen, able to pick up a couple of podiums for Autotechnic Racing in a different model of car, but had a very, very busy and productive weekend and got to spend a little bit of time and chatting with him, so it was great to see him out there.
Okay, you see Alex lined up and ready to go with his very patriotic car. And we wait for, I think, Mehmet Karasay to be the last one to plop himself on the grid. It's a short pace lap here at Spa, thankfully. It takes so long just to do a single racing lap. Being a full pace lap is going to be momentous. And they just start before Blanchimont, before they head on their way. And it looks like Karasay is now out there. So should see the Porsche pace car lead them up to the bus stop, peel off. It is the GP layout, so they're both going to start and finish just after the bus stop chicane here.
Yes, they will, and just carefully going around here. It's going to be a little bit tricky to get through that bus stop single or double file, and so watch for a little bit of a checkup, and some of the drivers farther back in the field are going to be in for a whole world of difficulty trying to get started.
So Tom Layton on 8 wins, trying to make it another here and extend his gap even further. But can he shake them off of him on the slipstream up the Kemmel Straits? As we come out of the final chicane, he has to wait for the green flag is waved here. And there it is. Green flag is out. Layton is on it. And it looks like Chad Duncan could have a chance to challenge him. 3 wide for third place behind them as they all fan out, almost 4 wide at one point. This is often a dangerous place here through La Source, but it looks like they get everybody through.
Yeah, everybody through nice and easy as they get a little bit of single file there. Facciolo losing a little bit of time up to Duncan and Layton. That's not what you want to have happen. Michael Johnson, though, with a great start there, up 2 positions.
Well, Duncan was right on the rear bumper of Layton coming to Eau Rouge, but he lost it over the top of the hill, and he's too far back. Now Facciolo's pretty quick. He could have a go at second place. He ducks his nose down to the inside into the Lacoon, but he doesn't brake late enough.
Breaks very, very early there. Michael W. Johnson having a little bit of a look to his inside and outside, trying to see if there's anything to be had. Michael Bolton losing a little bit of a place there. Ooh, a little bit of contact there in the back.
That's Mayorga, and I think that's Abrams. Yeah, that's Abrams, and it looks like also Doug Boccignoni had to cut the Lacombe chicane a little bit. They're back and rolling, so I think they managed to get away with it. Still a lot of positions being swapped around here at the back of the field.
Yeah, everybody moving and shaking here at this point as we dive down into No Name right now, working their way through, and that's Mayorga around. Or excuse me, that's Momeyer around.
Oh, it took a little bit of the wall with him, unfortunately. I don't think it's going to be too much damage, but he is now way behind everybody. He's got a lot of work to do. Look at this, though, side by side. That's Latvala challenging Facciolo. Nick not having a good start to this race. That's 3 positions lost with that one right there.
Yeah, it just looks like, Joe, he's a little bit tentative on the braking. He's just coming into corners, braking very, very early and letting the cars kind of get on by him. So I'm not sure if that's maybe him just trying to warm up everything here or if something's going wrong.
And now he's having some connection issues, unfortunately, as that's Michael Ost who's coming up behind him as well. They're not missing anything at the front. They're already spreading out, and we've got another problem for Abrams off to the side of what looks like Curva Paul Frere.
Yeah, just losing it there a little bit, it looks like, is now they're going to bring their way onto the main straightaway here. Michael W. Johnson leading a big train of cars. A little bit of a fan out there behind as Facciolo looks like he's trying to prevent going any more places down.
So it seems Tom Layton is already broken away. And Chad Duncan, unless he's got a second and a half that he can pull back in that championship leader, is going to have a tough time on this one. He's also got Michael Johnson behind him by about 1.2 seconds. And like I said, I'm sure that Michael's going to be hungry here today after having some poor performances a little bit earlier on. Behind him, that is the yellow and black machine of Michael Bolton as well, who Michael Johnson was praising during qualifying, saying he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, he is one of Michael's coaching clients actually there, and really, really impressed with the speed that he was able to show. Michael Johnson being a driver coach in the daytime is one of the things that he is most well known for.
Behind them saw a little bit of action between Ost and Facciolo, and Ost went a little bit wide because of it. That puts Corey Latvala on his rear bumper, the 22, trying to apply some pressure as they head down towards Puhan. Hard to make a pass into there, not impossible. I've seen it before, but you got to be brave, and this is way too early in the race. Indeed, he decides to get back onto the racing line.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. As we said, they're coming in these GC3 cars. You're going to have a little bit of brush of the brake. Oh, as we've got a car around, that's Michael Chang.
And he's trying not to back up into the racing line. Unfortunately, that clatters him into the Armco. Car looks pretty damaged as he struggles to get it rolling. That puts him down into 20th. We've already seen Mayorga and Jacob Abrams stop in for their spare cars. And I wonder if Chang will soon be joining them as we head back up to the battle between Ost and Facciolo. Ost goes from defense back to attack very quickly and was thinking about it into Blanchimont and reconsidered.
Oh, and Michael Johnson has had a huge off in front of him, Joe. That is a big clobber into the wall there for the number 9.
Oh, for the 3rd race in a row for the 9 car. This has been a real slump for him. Surely he's going to have to come in and try and take one of those spare cars. There's no scheduled pit stops. Yep, the car's limping, and there he goes.
And I was watching this, Joe, and this was a self-spin. It was very, very strange. It just looked like the car broke away from him going through Blanchimont.
Also, Filsinger just behind him as he was entering the pits, ran into the back of Nazari and turned him around. And they're getting going there. You can see some of the smoke left over from that incident, but a lot of damage on the front of the 950 car.
Yeah, quite a bit there, and that's really going to be of detriment. And there you can see him actually turning off to the inside. I wonder if he's a little bit slow. Potentially recognizes that he's slow.
We might be redressing the position, or he could have some damage there, just hit the suspension or something. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to keep watching it. A little bit of action just in front of him, though. Looks like that is a fight between Chang and Fendick, and Chang is going to be able to keep that 16th spot for now. And behind them, oh, yeah, that is Nazarian ahead of Filsinger. So I think we have a chance for a replay of Johnson. Let's take a look and see if we can figure out exactly what may have caused this.
He looks good coming into the corner, and then he may have just clipped the inside grass ever so slightly there, Joe, and just tried to correct the car a little bit and just got a little bit of a snap on him. Yeah, you can see the little bit of a touch of grass there going into the corner. A very, very strange incident.
Yeah, unusual. And to see him lose it like that, something must not have been right with the setup of the car. It's not like him to make mistakes like that. Meanwhile, this is the incident with Phil Singer. Now, it seems like there's a battle in front of him, and I'm not sure if he outbraked himself or was just not anticipating those two being that slow, because he absolutely punts him.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit of the latter there, Joe, that he just wasn't anticipating how slow they would be. These cars do have some pretty substantial ABS systems in them, and so it's not necessarily like he'd lock up the front tires. Oh, his Oast has had a go-around, and that has taken out Rondeau, and, that's taken out Lotvilla in the process of big coming together in the bus stop.
Ooh, that was a little sloppy from Oast. He went deep going into the bus stop chicane, and when he tried to return, there were still cars there, and unfortunately that caused all the sort of problems we just saw. Meanwhile, Fulton on Shulam as we take a look at the replay of the incident here.
Yeah, there you see Oast just goes wide, tries to rejoin, and just taps Lotvilla around, and that creates a big traffic jam. Dare I say a little bit of an unsafe rejoin there from Corey Lotvilla?
I think so, honestly. I think yes, he would have gotten a cut course penalty if he had carried on straight, but that probably would have been the better option in this situation, as Lotvilla definitely disadvantaged by that one. I can report that checkup allowed BJ Fulton to attack on Jeffrey Shulam. Fulton got 9th place up into Lacombe. There he is on screen right now in the 423.
Yeah, good heads up that play there from BJ, just kind of recognizing that there was a little bit of a checkup in front of him and going for the gap. And you can see he's already starting to streak away a little bit here from Jeffrey Shulam.
Well, Michael Bolton seems to be really feeding off the praise he's been getting from his mentor, because he's already on the back of Jad Duncan. A battle for second place. It may be nearly 5 seconds behind Tom Layton, but still some valuable points between these two.
Yeah, valuable points on display here as they go. And I think for Michael, with all of the calamity that we've seen earlier on in this race, what he needs to do here at this point is just keep focused in and try to time the run correctly. It's one of the hardest things to do here at Spa because of the way the track flows itself out on the run from La Source all the way up to Lacombe and going up over Rouge and Radion. You've got to kind of time a pass like you're almost timing an oval, as it were. And the same is true going from Stavlo all the way into bus stop here, as it looks like he may have gotten that timing a little bit right.
Oh, but if he gets by him through La Source, he's going to feed him that slipstream all the way down. You better hope that he's got a lot of traction coming over that rise, and especially out of this corner. It does look pretty good. Very smooth pass from Michael Bolton that time. Let's see what he's got now as he heads through Eau Rouge and then over the top of Radillion. As they come across this classic corner, it's still very tight. Duncan with a great exit. He's going to be able to fight back, and will he be able to overtake him? He'll have to do it the long way around, it looks like. No, he's going to make some space down to the inside, almost all the way to the grass, as Bolton left just enough of the door open. And as they go side by side into the chicane, a slide from Bolton means that Duncan is back through.
Well, that's pretty much how you do it there in a nutshell, Joe. The 83 able to put a textbook maneuver on the 127, and don't look now, but if these two continue to squabble a little bit, Nick Facciolo looks like he's gotten back into his element here, and he may be able to be a part of this battle here soon.
Just an update, don't need to go to it. Momire seems to have pulled off the track and towed himself into the pits. He must have had prior damage or something that he felt he could not handle for the remainder of this race. We're only a third of the way through this thing, and there is a lot happening right now as we watch our drivers hit the bottom of the hill here. Just behind that fight for second place, Facciolo getting into the thick of it once again. He may have lost a lot of positions at the start, but he's already back to at least fourth and started from third.
Yeah, and this is Russell Elizondo, I believe, had a little bit of a spin going down through Puja there. He was engaged in a pretty hefty battle up ahead of him with Rondeau and Fulton and Shulam.
Man, we talked about coming into this one how tough this track is, and we are seeing it. This car known for being a bit finicky in fast corners, and I think we're seeing that in spades here.
Yeah, we certainly are. And part of the reason for that, Joe, is the unique design of this Porsche 911 GT3R. It is rear engine, rear wheel drive, and that means there's a lot of weight over the rear axle, and it's very easy to let those rear tires slip out a little bit, particularly in high-speed corners. And so that is coming to play here quite effectively.
As this battle carries on in front of him, BJ Fulton is still working on Marc Rondeau as they go side by side into La Source. Could be an over-under here. No, they hold station as Rondeau keeps the inside and Fulton stays on the outside. That's Shulam behind them in the 371. He could also take advantage. Oh, and I was going to say we don't want to go too wide through Eau Rouge at this stage, and thankfully Fulton backs out, but it looks like he had a little wiggle coming over the crest, and that puts him at a disadvantage. Here comes Shulam at him.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's that timing of the move that I talked about. Is we've got side by side here up for P2.
That's Bolton at it once again, trying to attack on Duncan. This time he waited for Lacombe, and it almost pays off, but it carries on all the way to Ravage, way deep into the corner. Duncan maybe shot himself in the foot there a little bit, and now has to give it up. Bolton now into second.
And I think part of the reason why that he had to give it up is he noticed Nick Facciolo coming up from behind there. As we said, Facciolo right back into this battle and certainly starting to try to press his advantage a little bit if he can.
Yeah, whatever was plaguing him at the start has gone away, and now he is just about back to where he started. Bolton, by the way, is up 2 from where he began this race, so looking very handy today as we're on board with the black number 717, just behind Jad Duncan's yellow and orange Porsche coming out of Stabilo. This is where they need the best exit possible.
Yes, they do. And Joe, I wonder there if Facciolo was maybe just compensating a little bit for cold tires around here. As we said, only 80 degrees Fahrenheit out on track, and that's relatively chilly for track temperatures. So I wonder if he was just being a little bit cautious there at the beginning, not wanting to use up some cold tires.
Taking a little bit of a look coming down into the final chicane, but Facciolo decides not to go for it. Maybe he was watching what happened between Bolton and Duncan. Maybe he was taking notes and deciding to wait until now. This will be decisive. If he makes the move into La Source, he didn't learn, but if he waits, oh, he's going to look, but no, he's not going for it.
Yeah, that's what you need to do here. Try to back up the corner a little bit and get this timing perfect. You want to be about 4 to 5 tenths of a second behind as you start to climb up the hill, and then let that slipstream take effect. Indeed.
Had a couple self-spins. Looks like Dan Fendick had one, and then around the same time, Phil Singer was not able to hold on to it through the Fanyi chicane. And coming into La Source hairpin, we get some nice side-by-side action here between Michael Chang, Boyle Evans, and Mark Bray.
Yeah, really going at it here all the way up and down through the field, and it looks like here that we're going to have a little bit of a slipstream battle. Could he maybe have pulled out a little bit too early? He's not going to get the benefit of the draft now coming down the Kemmel Straight.
Evans, another one here for his first ever Porsche Owners Club Series race, and doing pretty decent, up 4 from where he started into 15th and looking to take another, but Chang's going to deny him.
Yeah, Chang just put on a good defense there, being able to hold that at bay for now, running the exact line that he needed to do. And now he's going to have a little bit of a time to breathe in terms of an attack from behind, but he's still got to make his way through this tricky second sector.
Certainly does. And things finally are calming down for a little bit. That could be commentator's curse here in a second. We'll see, as we just had non-stop action for a moment between cars. And yeah, speak of the devil, somebody is off. Is that Elizondo? No.
That's Facciolo. That's the 717. That was the 4th place car.
Oh, and all that hard work has been thrown away. This was on his own, it appears, coming through Stavolo.
Yeah, I think just carried a little bit too much speed coming through the corner, and that threw him off there, Joe. Stavolo's one of those corners that in modern cars you don't think of as being the trickiest corner in the world, but you've got to get the entry into the corner just right, otherwise you can upset the balance.
I tell you what, the 501 of Dewan up 6 positions, his first ever race in this series, and is doing mighty fine if you ask me. In fact, he could sneak into 4th. It depends on if he feels feisty with Lotvilla you see in front of him in the red machine.
Well, let's give some credit here to Corey Lotvilla. Remember, he had that incident coming into the bus stop earlier on, and he's just been able to keep all 4 tires on the black stuff here at this point, up 1 position on the day. This is a pretty impressive drive from Corey.
Yeah, he's got to get back into this hunt himself, as we said at the top of the show. 4th in the points, had a bad run back at Sonoma, but good races at Daytona, and actually finally took a win this season at round 10, which was back at VIR. So Corey is one that could steal valuable points from those who are really looking to try and take the crown this season, and a 4th place will be good points, but a podium would be even better.
Yeah, it certainly would, and he'll be hoping for that, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to do that. He's got to hope here from a problem from Bolton or Duncan, as he's about 4.5 seconds behind right now as he runs.
Oh, Mark Bray just had a spin coming into Lacombe. He was chasing on Loyal Evans and just ran it a little hot into there, turned the car around. He loses about 3 or 4 positions before he's able to get it turned around, and he's down to 14th. The 73 is off. That's Ost again.
Ooh, oh, and Karasay off as well. Everybody running into problems.
Oh, it is turning into a rough one now. So as he gets back onto the track, that was Facciolo that just went by. I'm sure Nick doesn't mind getting an easy spot right there and cracking back into the top 10.
All right, so not all lost there for Facciolo as they run, but everything's starting to separate itself out just a little bit right now. This is now one of the closest battles, about 6 to 5 tenths of a second here separating Karasay from Chang. There is Facciolo trying to hold off any attack from behind.
And do we know if Chang has any damage from his incident there? Because he could be slow compared to Michael. Let's see if he has an easy pass, because he's certainly gaining pretty quickly in a straight line as they come off of Blanchimont. Karasay covers the inside, going to make him work for it. Chang does not break as deep, but does he make the apex in front of him? Facciolo didn't make the apex. He's going to have a slowdown penalty and have to give up time and maybe be caught up by these two.
Oh, this is going to be interesting, as there he moves off to the side. A little bit of a courteous move for him there. Is he going to be able to hold it? No, he's not. He is already off. That is 2 more positions lost.
It's a bad day for Nick Facciolo, that is for sure. Behind him, Mayorga and Evans just swapped positions as well. So we had our brief moment of respite, and now it's suddenly all exploding once more. Coming up through Eau Rouge, that's Mayorga in the teal and white. That's Evans in the purple and yellow. They hit the top of the hill and continue to climb up the Kimmel Straits. Not quite fast enough in a straight line, it seems, for the 701 car.
No, not quite fast enough. We do see a little bit of movement here and there, trying to be able to get their way around. Working. Is Facciolo, is that another slowdown there for him?
I'm not sure. No, I'm not seeing a black flag. If it was, he paid it back pretty quickly. Oh, and Ost is absolutely sending it in. Can he make it stick? No, unfortunately, he's going to turn Evans around, and he tries to halt to give the positions back. Unfortunately, it seems for Michael, he is chasing the Ost of a good thing.
See what you did there. As they continue on, and that's frankly bunched up the field there a little bit more, is now the battle with Chang. Facciolo Mayorga has gotten super tight.
It has. This mid-pack has been something to behold here in the middle of the race. 10 minutes left to go now as they head through Fanyes once again. Michael Chang had a bit of a rough start to this race, but great job since then. He's been up 5 from where he began. It seems like the name of the game today is the fewest mistakes made.
Yeah, I certainly think it is. As Spa is catching out its fair few number of victims here today. This is ridiculous from these drivers, just hanging on for dear life at this point, Joe.
Yeah, so many of them really struggling late in the race. Chang's not looking quick off of Blanchimont. Facciolo had a rough time here at the end, especially right here into the bus stop chicane. This time he makes it through the corner, but can't get the power down coming off of there. Spins the tires up. Mayorga says, thank you very much. I'll take that 12th.
Yeah, I certainly will, as there they go, but trying to see what they can do here. Coming down now into the corner, Facciolo looking for maybe a little bit of an over-under. Not going to make it work, and he's just going to have to hope for the draft gods here as he works his way up the Kemmel Straight.
All right, let's see who's got the run. It's all going to be about the exit of Radion, and it's looking pretty decent for Chang. A little bit better for Mayorga, and now he starts to gain. Here we go. The game is on once again. The 183 is coming from a long way back, though. Have to be a little bit of a desperate move into the braking, and he thinks about it, but it looks like he knows that one's not on.
Yeah, definitely had to give up the ghost there a little bit, and Facciolo going to be trying to pick up some of the pieces here. If Mayorga tries to make another move like that, we'll have to see how it plays out. These drivers running within a second of each other. Throw a blanket over him here with 7.5 minutes to go.
We had a massive wreck for Russell Elizondo. I think he's had to take a tow. Oh, we got another car off here. Trying to see who this is. This is down into Puhan. That was Shulam, who is now in 9th place. Not sure, he may have lost a spot to Doug Boccignone, but I don't think much more than that.
Yeah, I think he was pretty much far down the field enough to not have it. Ooh, little bit of a look there for Mayorga going down into Fanye's, and that is not going to be enough, and that is only going to allow for Facciolo to close in a little bit more behind.
Okay, when will this one give us a chance to take a breath here? Karase trying to scamper off from in front of them. Chang still leading the trio. Facciolo chasing Mayorga along with Michael Chang. 6 minutes left to go with a 2+ minute lap. Well, where is Leighton? Oh, he's well beyond the start-finish line, so we probably have 4 laps left.
Yeah, that's probably about what it is here. As this has got a little bit of that was Mayorga there, getting all kinds of sideways on the curbs.
And trying to cut back underneath. Here comes Nick Facciolo to take advantage, but can't get the traction down quite as well. All of them squeezing to the inside and squeezing too hard, because suddenly it comes out the end of the toothpaste tube in a messy way, and Chang is on his lid as Facciolo has his, 3rd or 4th incident, I think, of this race.
Yeah, that is not great there for him, and unfortunately that is going to be day done for both of them. A very, very rough blow, and not normally on a place of the track that you see a big coming together like that, Joe.
Mayorga is now on his lonesome after having 2 drivers fiercely battling him lap after lap. He's able to do his own thing, and yeah, that's the unfortunate thing with sim racing. The spatial awareness is a little bit different. Can we get it on board from Michael Johnson there? Oh my goodness, Johnson thanking his lucky stars as he had a front row seat to that one.
Yeah, he certainly did. As we ride on board right now, you see just the smoke in the way. Oh, ho, ho.
Not exactly the thing that you want to see, but he got away from it clean. I was kind of keeping half an eye on Michael, because I was noticing he was making some passes. He's back up to 12th. The unfortunate thing is he won't see any points gained over the 2 that he'll get where he sits now until he gets higher than 10th. So he's got probably a good 10 seconds to get up to Jeffrey Shulam in 9th. I'm thinking that's unlikely with 4 minutes to go. In the meantime, BJ Fulton, who is trying to go side by side with Marc Rondeau, and again, they are trying to push one another. Here coming up into Blanchimont, and wisely, BJ Fulton backs out of that one.
Yeah, I think that was the good call there, discretion being the better part of valor. At this point, we've seen so many drivers be lost to attrition. You don't want to be one of that number, and just focus here on a little bit more of a good call to try to just get to the end of this thing.
Absolutely, and the point I was trying to make earlier, before we saw the another replay from onboard Michael Johnson there of that incident, is squeezing somebody in sim racing always so different than real life, where you have a little bit more peripheral awareness.
Yeah, that's it can definitely be one of those things. Even if you are driving in VR or you have those triple screens, that sensory overload that you get when you're driving in real life, very, very different than a sim. But here we go, BJ on a run.
A great run coming up to Kemmel Straight, and this time he's going to have the inside coming down into the Lacombe chicane, but coming back at him, Rondeau breaks deep. It's not going to be deep enough, so move BJ Fulton up 9 positions now into 6th.
That is just a monstrous climb up through the field. Easily our biggest mover of the race there. And I'm maybe a little bit crazy, but I think I saw a little bit of front end damage there. Yes, I did, to Mark Rondeau, so that could explain a little bit of it.
Absolutely. Just an update that looks like Nazarian has copped a black flag for too many incidents, and he's had a drive-through penalty. I also see Mehmet Karasay. Yeah, it looks like Mehmet Karasay is going to be the latest to have to do that as well. So Michael Johnson now moved up to 11th because of that. And Mehmet just had that happen. He spun and ran into the wall, so that tipped him over the limit.
Oh, unfortunate there from Mehmet. We talked about that there may be a chance that a couple of drivers fall afoul of that over the course of this race, and it looks like it was Mehmet that caught that just wrong.
Well, we were kind of talking behind the scenes, those incident limits, we expected to bite a number of drivers, and here towards the end, it is definitely coming true. Oh, and Karasay has another problem down into what looks like Puhan. So even if he didn't have the black flag, now surely he's got to come in and try and take a spare car from here. Okay, 2 minutes left to go, and Leighton looks like he has crossed the line. So I think this is 2 to go right here. Because it's about 2:16 per lap, so he should have been across the line in time at this stage. I think there are those that are maybe praying that he ends this one sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Joe. Some drivers definitely wanting this race to end, and I can tell you I was watching on board the number 97. He did cross over with about 10 seconds to go, so that is going to be 2 more laps here at Spa.
So that actually broke up some of our battles, those last couple incidents. Closest one we've got, I think, is here on screen with that 22. And Dewan, wow, Dewan, yet again, he's up to 5th now. And, oh, we had covered that earlier, actually. He hadn't gained anything. He's still working on Lotbla, still working on that 4th position. But he looks slightly closer than what he was before. I have a feeling that Corey is going to defend hard here in this last lap and a half.
Yeah, I think he will. We're going to have to see how it plays out, though, as there's still plenty of time left to go, around a lap and a half here. I mean, that's, don't trust me on math, but 6 and something miles.
Somewhere in there, as they head out of Puhan and once again into Fanyes. Behind them, just in the background, that was not the next car back. That was a lapped car, Michael Chang, who's gotten back out on track after taking his spare car and returning. But as you can see, certainly keeping Sagar at bay here in this last little bit. But here is your leader, the 97 of Tom Leighton. Just going to be able to get to the line, like you said, with about 10 to go. So this is going to be the final lap now as the white flag is waved. It's 11.6 seconds down to Michael Bolton.
Well, once again, just an absolutely dominant performance here from Tom Leighton. We check back in on that battle with Lotfala. Looks like he's going to be out of the slipstream ranges. Oh, we've got a car around there in the back.
That's Michael Bray, self-spin there in Puhan. That's been a real danger zone for the drivers here today. And to the 5:01 in the meantime, Dewan is still about a second back from Lotfala. So he's lost a little time in the latter half of that lap. Oh, and Rondeau just got by BJ Fulton. I think that happened in La Source.
Yes, it did, and I'm not entirely sure there how he was able to do that, as it looked like BJ just had the run on the rest of the field, but he's fallen back through the order here.
He went deep. That or he just handed the position back to him. It was kind of strange. Oh, Fulton. Oh, he's got a slowdown penalty now. And so now he's having to give back even more. He served it. Doug Baccignone goes by. This is strange days as drivers suffer losses of positions later on for weird reasons, as this is BJ Fulton you see on your screen right now. He served the penalty and is able to carry on. I also see Mehmet Karasay still having a penalty to serve himself, and it looks like he is going to be able to get into pit lane to serve that before Leighton comes around to lap him. But meanwhile, this is Leighton coming around through Stavelo and up towards Blanchimont. It's going to be another dominating performance. This is round 14 and win number 9 that he's about to claim. That is a good chunk of the races already.
Yeah, that is a very good chunk of the races, and he is already locking down this championship, even though we are just over the halfway point here. Dominant doesn't even come close to describe this, Joe.
Yeah, once the drop rounds come into it, that's going to help him out a ton, as a win here in Spa for Tom Leighton puts him even farther out of reach from his rivals. How about Michael Bolton, 5th in the points and coming home with a 2nd? Could he put himself into the hunt here with those top 5? And Jad Duncan with a well-earned 3rd today.
A very, very well-earned 3rd, as there you see Michael Johnson able to get by. Was that Shulam there with the slowdown potentially?
Or is he out of fuel?
I think it's the latter. Yeah, I think he's out of fuel.
Oh, no. Well, that puts Johnson into 10th. Unfortunately, it doesn't raise his points at all, and Mayorga is in front of him about to cross the line, so I think Johnson is just going to have to settle for another 2-point finish. But where is Shulam going to wind up? Loyal Evans is coming up behind him. Mark Bray will be next. I don't even think Shulam's got enough to get to the finish line here.
No, I don't think he does either, as that is a long, long run down to the start-finish line, and it is not downhill, so I don't think he's going to make it.
No, so he'll do no better than what looks like 16th Jacob Abrams, the last one on the lead lap. That was Mark Bray that happily gains a position right at the very end. It'll be Dan Fendick up next, just about to go ahead of him. There he goes. And then Nazarian is the next one through from there. Fendick crosses by Bray, is over the line to take a 12th place. Nazarian up to 14th in his 2nd ever race in this series. And Shulam comes to a halt. Oh, Abrams with a wreck. Was that involved with Shulam?
No, I think that was an incident on his own there, unfortunately. But Abrams coming to the line here, just getting all kinds of trouble. I think that was a self-incident coming through Blanchimont.
I think he may have been put off, because at that point Shulam was pretty much parked on the exit of the corner. And I wonder if that spooked him, but he did manage to finish the race at least. So well, I don't know why he's coming into pit lane. Might as well take the checkered flag. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ride around the world. I'm Mick Claridge, and I'm going to ride around the world on my bike. My son, he gave me advice at the start of this ride. And he looked at me and just said, "Dad, don't be a moron." Let me do my animal signal to gain their respect. How's it going, Sally? Yeah, I'm alright, Mick. How's it going? Worse than that bit in Lord of the Rings where they got into the top and the spiders in the tunnel. I'm just hoping there's a spider at the top of this one to kill me. Freezing. And I failed. I moroned up the ride.
Welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps. Round 14 for the Porsche Owners Club Series sees Tom Layton grab another one as he came home the victor ahead of Michael Bolton by about 12 seconds. Bolton going up from 4th to his P2, and I think Michael Johnson was right about his pace being fantastic lately. Chad Duncan, in the meantime, was down 1, but still gets himself a podium as well. Corey Lotfula just outside the podium in 4th, with Sagar Dewan finishing 5th in his first ever POC race, climbing 6 positions. Mark Rondeau was 6th as Doug Boccignoni finished 7th, up 7 spots. BJ Fulton in 8th and Sam Mayorga 9th. Michael Johnson, unfortunately, still in a bit of a slump here today, finishing 10th.
In 11th, it was Loyal Evans, followed by Mark Bray, with Dan Fendick and Civic Nazarian in 14th. 15th was Jacob Abrams, the last driver to finish on the lead lap. Following him home, it was Jeffrey Shulam, Mehmet Karasay, Michael Chang, Russell Alexander, and Alex Filsinger.
Nick Facciolo, Michael Ost, and John Momeyer were sadly DNFs today, but Tom Layton didn't see a DNF, just the opposite. Victory for the 97. Looked pretty assured from early on in this race. Tom, we talked during the pre-race about that the slipstream can sometimes keep things close, but you seemed pretty intent on breaking that as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I was actually a little bit worried about that on lap 1. So my whole strategy was just qualify well and just try and stay ahead through La Source and Rouge, Radion through there, and luckily I was able to make it happen.
Now, how was the car handling today? Because we saw a lot of drivers struggling out there. There's so many high-speed corners at this circuit. Were you able to get a setup that felt pretty comfortable?
Yeah, like when I first started practicing, I found a setup that was, I knew was fast, but it was really loose, and I just had to change my inputs and just kind of get used to that around here, because my setup at Sonoma last week was pretty tight. So the setup was pretty tight. They're pretty loose, and I spent a lot of time just kind of managing the tires, trying not to get the rear end out too much and lose that rear end.
Well, other than Sonoma being a bit of a blip, we've been having some very fast tracks between Daytona, here at Spa, and then now we're heading off to Road America. And considering you've had a second place at Daytona and a win here, are you feeling like your odds are pretty good out there at Elkhart Lake?
Yeah, I hope so. So I'll be here practicing, and I'm going to do my best.
Well, we'll watch out for you. Congratulations on the win once again, Tom.
Yeah, thanks. And I should thank my fiance first of all. She's in here doing chores and like walking the dog while I'm out doing some sim racing. So can't do it without her. And thank my sponsors, FR Sport, as well.
That was Tom Layton, victor here today, as it looks like DJ's caught up with Michael Bolton, had his own little bit of fighting to try and gain that second place.
Yes, indeed, Michael. I want to start though in qualifying. A great performance there for you that earned the praise of your driver coach, Michael Johnson.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great. No, man, I'm ecstatic. This is the result I've been working really hard for, and huge shout out to Michael Johnson for a good setup and great coaching. So.
Well, talk to me about the battles there early on in the race. You were right in the thick of it.
Man, I was looking around me, forward, side, back, and I was surrounded by quite the bubble of drivers. So just wanted to make it through lap 1, and got really close and just kept pounding the pressure on and putting the pressure on. And there was a couple pretty big slides that I had and was able to recover, but with the low downforce, or as low a downforce as we were running, it's just on the edge the whole time.
Well, as we look ahead here, we go to another super fast circuit in the form of Road America. Can we see a repeat of the podium?
Love to. I think like Tom said, I want to be doing as many practice races and putting in the time and the seat time. And shout out to my fiance as well. She puts up with a lot, and yeah, can't be doing the racing sim when she's walking the dog. So shout out.
Well, you always got to thank your significant others there for it. But Michael, congratulations again on a great result here today, my friend.
Thank you. It's time to go drink some Octavio.
Fantastic. All right, that was your second place finisher there, Michael Bolton. And Joe, I believe you've caught up with our third place finisher, Jad Duncan.
Indeed, I have. And even though he lost one position, I got to think that Jad's pretty happy today because this is your first ever podium of the season, I'm noticing. Talk about your performance out there because excellent qualifying, and it looked pretty good in the race as well.
Yeah, this was one of my best races. Last season, Spa was kind of my low point. My goal last year was to not finish last, which I barely achieved. And this year, I've really been working hard at this, and this felt really good to actually be in competition with everyone but Tom.
Yeah, that's probably the best goal in this sort of situation, the way this season is going. So what gave you the change of form? You said you've been working hard. I mean, what areas do you feel like you've had the most growth in?
Well, I've practiced a little more. I subscribed to VRS to learn some techniques, and I bought better equipment. I now have a VR headset and the Fanatec wheel. And I think all of it's combined with a little more time in the sim to help a lot, clearly.
Well, like I mentioned, your best finish of the season. So from here, I mean, what's the expectation? You think you're going to start rifling off more of these podiums, or is it more kind of a top 5 consistency thing?
If I can drive well, I hope to have some more good battles with Michael and Corey for the podiums. I think I'm at least in that range now. So if I can keep practicing and just refine some consistency just a little bit more, I think I can give them a challenge on some of the tracks. I tend to like the smoother, more F1 type tracks, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, best of luck on that. And again, fantastic job out there today. It's awesome to see drivers get better and show improvement year after year.
Yeah, it feels good to first good race after the GT4 switch, so I'm quite happy.
That was Jad Duncan, our third place finisher here today, which is going to wrap us up for round 14. Again, a big thank you to our sponsors for this series, which of course includes Porsche. There is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. And Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. As well as Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to OctavioTequila.com and purchase today. And finally, Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. Big thank you to the team today, DJ, Zach, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, website, and merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next time out, as we mentioned, Road America will be Monday, August 8th at 11 p.m. Eastern. And be sure to check out our other broadcasts listed here. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.